NFL isn't even discussed among it anymore. 5 years ago, it would have been the hot topic. Take pride in that? Is that something that...
Well, I think the right word is, actions speak louder than words. And I think, hard to believe, but, 5 years ago when, I was introduced, I think, the key point I had was we're going to do everything to, make football be viable in Jacksonville. And, and we've been trying to do that.
Right.
And there's a lot that's happened, but from day one, I think it's what you do that's important.
Stadium looks like a different place from when you first got there.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
absolutely.
People come to visit and they go, "Really? It's the same place?"
Yep.
And that seems to be the kind of connecting thread through some other franchises that have moved. So the quality of the stadium, the quality of the fan experience has to be something where people want to come to the game.
Absolutely. I think that's a key element. And, you look at television, for example. That's a great product. You got HD TV, so why would somebody want to go to the game anyway? It's got to be an event, and it has to be a game day experience where you want to be there. So, from day one, I think it's been, how do we make the stadium be better? But I'll tell you, just about every team owner who's been there, and obviously we have the rotating cast, they come in, they can't believe it. It's the same stadium. And we've got a, pretty good stadium, I think. I've been to most of them now, and, I think we stand up very well, but we want to move the needle and keep it going.
So you're sensing that the other league owners, I think people in Jacksonville know the progress that's been made there, but you're sensing that the league understands that as well.
I think the league understands. More importantly, the visiting owners understand, and it's like some of them, it's kind of shock to their system, that, hey, is this the same one? I don't remember approving anything, when this happened. So, and it's really, first thing, getting rid of those tarps, I think, the north end zone. Anytime you had a camera angle, that was it right there. And, getting it reproportioned, and I think, it's part of really Jacksonville, our brand now, the north end zone.
Do you see other NFL owners wanting a Daly's place too? Do you think that's going to be a trend? Outside elements there?
Well, you look at Las Vegas. A huge part of really how do you build a $1.7 billion stadium? Huge part of that is non-football revenue. That pays for that stadium. So non-football revenue, I think more and more, again, I think we've been at the leading edge of that, recognizing that, you've got to have that. But I think absolutely.
Will the paint be dry Memorial Day weekend?
Probably not. Probably not. So be careful. Wall, exactly. Right? Don't lean up, and there might not be paint at all some places. But I think you have to have targets, and you got to get the ball rolling, and you have to start it. So, but as time goes on, it's going to be better and better.
But you have a standard in that Daly's place that you want it to be a venue, kind of a special venue, not just an open air amphitheater, but to have that special quality that people want to come and say, hey, let's go see a concert there, because that's a fun place to go.
Absolutely. And really how we're going about it is, in a smart way. You've got parking there. It's not utilized other than maybe 12 times a year. We have the kitchens, the restroom, all of that we can, leverage off the stadium, I think, which led to the cantilevered really tiering of the amphitheater. I think the balconies, again, gives it great design, just a fabulous place.
Last time I talked to you was, I think, a day before free agency began. What were your impressions of what you guys did, and does it raise your excitement?
Well, I've had the same feeling I've had for the last few years. Okay, boy, we did great. A whole bunch of checks got written. So I think, I'm excited that a lot of the players we wanted, other teams wanted, we were able to attract. But I think, the big difference here is hopefully better results on the field.
In that same conversation, Shad, you said we have a higher football IQ in the stadium now.
Yep.
Do you feel that every time you show up? Do you see that? How is it manifesting itself?
I really feel it, okay? And I think I always thought, because of the personality, I mean, obviously Dave's been there the longest, Doug, and then, getting to know Tom. And really, I hadn't met Tom till, this whole process started. And I just felt that, they absolutely can mesh together. You can't take three people, at random in football and throw them together and say, okay, make this thing work. I think they have the experience, the age, the culture, the mindset, the personalities to really make this thing work. And Tom, I mean, if you look at the experience he's had, old school, new school, winning, obviously, a couple of Super Bowls, and he's gone through the whole progression. Obviously, Doug and then Dave, they all bring a little different subset of knowledge. So I feel it from an IQ viewpoint where, like free agents, like some of the players who, aren't with us, why we would do that. And, there's a logic, there's a method to the madness.
People are so fascinated with Tom. In 3 months of dealing with him, I assume a lot one-on-one. What's your impression? What's your big takeaway from why this guy is able to be so successful?
Well, I think passion to win, attention to detail, hard work. I think, those are the elements, whether you're in football or digging a ditch. I think you have those principles, you're going to be successful.
I'm happy. Did Jim, before we talked last time, well, since we talked last time, the HRO in Jacksonville was passed.
Yeah.
And I know that you're very pleased by that.
Yeah.
Does it give you a sense that the city kind of is starting to get it about what it's going to take to move forward, or what's your takeaway?
Well, Sam, first of all, the truth of the matter is I didn't know Jacksonville didn't have HRO. Okay, so this was literally, like a year or so ago when I think this came up, and then, it wasn't passed. And so maybe it's my ignorance, but I always assumed Jacksonville, and, I've been there now 5 years. You meet the people, and it's like, I was really surprised. And, so somebody had asked me what I thought, and I said, what are you talking about? And it was, we didn't have it. So when the initiative was about to get going, I think, getting better organized, getting the groups together, and then really from our viewpoint, in our small way, playing a role that, I think it's not only, it's the right thing to do. I think it's good for Jacksonville, it's good for business, but this is something that really transcends all that.
Right. I want to preface this question by telling you, my grandfather was an illegal immigrant 5 different times before he made enough money to, he used to present himself in the middle of the Atlantic to the ship captain. And before he made enough money to bring his family over. And then they quarantined him at Ellis Island for 4 months, which is not unusual. Did you come on a student visa? Is that how you started?
So in contrast to that, I'm a legal.
Well, I know.
Legal immigrant.
Okay? Eventually, he brought his family over because he fiercely wanted to become an American. So eventually, when he had enough money, went to Ellis Island, put his family through. They quarantined him because he was from an unknown island. Between Greece and Turkey, and they were like, we don't know what this guy may have. We're going to hold on.
Absolutely.
So, but you came on a student visa? To
I
start?
came on a F1, which, going back a long time ago, was a student visa. And part of that was you could work 20 hours a week. Okay? That was part of that. And then also part of that was on F1, it used to be you could work 18 months after you finished college. And then, if you started working, obviously you applied for a green card. That pretty much was automatic. But I'll tell you, I've been here long enough, Sam. I've seen a dramatic shift, to this, quote, illegal or undocumented. If you go back before 9/11, there really wasn't a lot of stigma to being undocumented.
Right.
And really there wasn't a lot of drama to being undocumented, and most of the people, however they ended up, got in line, and there was maybe an informal process to get documented. And I think after 9/11 it changed dramatically, and maybe rationally or otherwise. So it's a very, very different world today.
When President Trump had the initial immigration hold, you were quoted as saying that you were against that. Do you still stand with that same position in this second immigration hold that he has put out?
Yeah, Sam, I absolutely do. And I think, what's been heartening from my viewpoint is really to see the courts kind of pick up on it. The big difference is that, President Trump, he had talked about, he was really anti-Muslim and anti-immigrant. Okay. That has been, that was part of the process.
In the campaign?
In the campaign.
Okay.
Okay. So, and those are things, it's like very hard for him to, get away from. But while he was running, the whole, whole logic was that after he's elected, the views would be moderated, the border would be secured, legal immigration would be going up, and then there would be a process for the 11 million people, who are undocumented. Somehow, they would go through a process to become, documented. And in the early, or this, as a matter of fact, pendulum even swung, even more the wrong way. And so, hopefully over time, it's going to come more to the middle, and something rational be done.
So you would support some sort of process where undocumented people in America would have a process to move forward towards citizenship?
I think absolutely. And again, securing the borders, increasing legal immigration, and then this would be really the third part of that. I think absolutely it has to be done. And immigration is it's a foundation, and I think when your grandfather came, Ellis Island, just look at what the inscription on the Statue of Liberty is. Not looking for the best educated, the best looking, or the richest. So that is really the founding principle, of America. So certainly the 11 million people, they'd be falling in that category.